their application process for building permits. We pay them back once they've met the requirements of building permits, and so the return of security deposits. Our financial system doesn't allow you to pull out those kind of things. So any particular person or company that's been paid a check that's made payable to them over $25,000 is listed there.
So this is
their money being returned to them.
This is a reimbursement of money that they paid us.
Yeah, and it's all
like
done
the year
through
before.
our building inspector and the building department and our approving
But
office.
isn't that Union Bay Builders, like Kensington Island Properties?
That's
I
the
did a company
name.
check, they do not exist.
That's the company name that they provide to us when they pay the deposit or on the building permits, and that's the company that we're legally compelled to.
Just letting you know they don't exist.
I was also really curious. I have another question about it. I was also really curious about who makes the decisions about how much the councillors and mayor and CAO get paid.
Council.
The council. So you guys could vote yourself a raise. I am proposing that you vote yourself a really good raise because you are not getting paid enough. $500 a month is ridiculous. Nobody would sign up for that job unless they were independently wealthy or they were working at some other job. I don't think you can do a really good job and show up at all the meetings and really do a lot of reading on a wage like that. So if it's up to you, I'm just encouraging you wholeheartedly. Increase it by 400 or 500%. I'd like to see you making, $4,000 or $5,000 a month and really working hard at your job. And that way, when the elections come up, we're going to see a lot of interested people in running. At this point, I'm talking to other people that would really like to have some power in this town and become a councillor. They cannot afford to take the job on. It's like charity. And I was also really shocked to see that our CAO is getting paid $93,000 a year, plus $19,000 in expenses. And that is just outrageous to me. Now, I understand some professionals are used to getting paid huge amounts of money, but in comparison to what our councillors and mayor are getting paid, I think that's a crime.
Well, we have to compare our CAO to other CAOs.
Well, I realize that, and somebody actually, when I was ranting to some other people before this meeting, I was reminded of that. I mean, I'm coming into this fresh, I had no idea. So, in a way, I have innocent eyes, and I'm looking at that and I'm thinking, who is worth that much when you actually have people who are making decisions for me and all my other friends who are taxpayers in this town, and they're hardly getting paid anything. It's just, and there are other politicians in different levels of government, in towns and cities that get paid really well. And it was explained to me that, well, it's just because it's all geared on population. So that means if you're in a rural area or a small village like Cumberland, you don't get paid very much. I mean, why is that? That just seems wrong. That's just wrong.
Paid. I mean, it's simple as that. I would think, and I really appreciate your comments.
I work at another job.
But the reality
I know
is,
you do, and so do a lot of our other councillors. And I don't think you can give it your full attention and really do the job justice if you have to be working somewhere else.
You try to do your best with your availability of time.
I know, I understand that, and I appreciate your integrity. But I'm just saying.
Everybody's got to feed a family.
That's right, and I think that this job should pay you enough so that you can give it your full attention. Anyway.
fair comments.
And I have another question. I'm just worried that it won't get in before the end of all the agenda things, so I'm just squeezing it in, and I hope you don't mind. Yesterday or the day before, Dwayne and I were with Ginger Goodwin's great-great-grandnephew, and we wanted to do an interview with him, and the town really welcomed these people. They flew over from England, and so we chose to do the interview in front of the mural, which is hanging at the old home store, the new Cumberland General Store. And we were really shocked, and Bob Goodwin was particularly shocked at the condition of the mural. I don't know if anybody has gotten out of their car to really look at the condition of the mural since it's been hung. I think since March it's been hanging outside, and it's awful what's happening to that beautiful piece of art. The plexiglass that has been mounted on top of it is warping, especially in the sun, and it's touching the paint, and it's taking off huge flakes right off of the board that it was painted on. So at this point, I mean, Dwayne and I actually repaired the number 6 mine mural last fall because of graffiti stuff, and it took quite a long time to do that because you have to mix colors to match, you know, you have to match the colors, right? This repair job right now is like many, many hours already with the damage that's been incurred. There's also the frame that has been put, that holds the plexiglass on. It's come away at the corners, and it's it was made with green wood, I think, and so now it's dried and all the joints have opened up. So as soon as it starts raining again, it's going to blow in. So anyway, I know we need to talk to Proctor, and you try finding his number. It's very, very hard to find his number. So what I'm thinking is, would the village be interested in protecting this piece of art? I've heard that he wasn't particularly concerned about it, but that's just secondhand. We haven't been able to speak to him, and I'd like to speak to him and actually ask him if he would donate the mural to the village, and maybe we could put it up in here or somewhere where it's protected, because it's not meant to be hung outside. I really don't think that there's anything we could do in terms of even putting varathane on it or something like that, that especially hanging on a full sunny side like that, there's no way that we can protect it. And it's a beautiful piece. So I just want to call everybody's attention to it. Go take a look, and we will try and get in touch with Wayne Proctor. I'm not quite sure how to do that, but we'll try and see if maybe we can get him to donate it, if he knew that the village was interested in protecting it.
I'll phone it tonight for you, and I'll tell him the concerns that you raised.
Oh, that would be great. Thank you.
I'll do that. I'll tell him that when he has a look at it, maybe to get you to go down, meet him there, and show him all these things, because I parked right underneath it, and I guess I don't seem to notice it all.
I never noticed it until Mr. Goodwin was explaining the mural and the different things in the mural, and he said, by the way, this is terrible what's happening to this mural, and it should be protected. So, and we actually filmed that interview, and I don't know, have you posted that, Dwayne? But he's going to post that on the Cumberlander so you can actually see the interview. So.
Okay, thank you.
Maybe he'll donate the amount of money it costs to fix it.
Yeah, if it went down
That
the
would
way
be
Frank
nice.
Lewis would never forgive us.
Oh,
If you only knew
I
Frank,
know.
well, he was super.
Yeah, I think it's very sad.
Yeah.
Good, thank you. The Regional Water Supply Commission is just an update again. The appointments are being made to that commission and to the advisory bodies to that commission. In fact, Broncos are a rep for our political rep, and we have staff members on the advisory body as well. So when something starts coming out of those meetings, we'll be happy to report on it.
Yeah, just for information, I talked to the chairman of that committee at the Economic Development Annual Meeting the other day, and asked him, when we're going to get cracking, because I'm concerned about the time frame. We've got a pretty short window, and it is going to tie in with the growth strategy, that's for sure. And it's certainly the homework that we have to do here in Cumberland. Thank God we've got a lot of it, but to see if our system, is going to be compatible. Will it be eliminated? Will we run the pipe from the deep water intake, if they have it, through the filtration plant down Bevan Road to feed Cumberland? All these things are about what we're doing right now. I talked to Mike Hamilton, and we're going to take some aerial pictures of our water system, so that when I go to these meetings, we'll have everything right there, that you won't have to say, oh, well, it's going to take another 3 months to get the information or the pictures, so hopefully we're going to be prepared for our September meeting.
They've also the province is introducing some new regulations on water supply, which is going to make it extremely difficult for us. I like that.
Even more.
Surface water.
Right. A couple of the councillors and staff attended a meeting last week with representatives from VHA, talking about new policy that is just in the works, requiring additional level of treatment for surface water, drinking water requirements, and basically filtration or ultraviolet light. And the price tag is estimated in our case at about $100 million. Is that right? Or 10 million? 10 million. Add an extra zero.
No, it's that it's
Yeah.
10 times the cost for filtration than ultraviolet, so they didn't put a number to it.
1
They just said it's 10
million.
times.
Yeah, 10 times as expensive, and our system would probably require because we didn't meet the requirements for the. Yeah, he mentions that in there. It is in that report, and but this is a policy again that's just coming down. VHA wants to see a plan from us within the next while. They're going to include it as a term and condition of our next water license or water permit, and then they want to discuss a plan of how we're going to move towards implementation of that policy.
Did they say why they want that?
It's province-wide. We're the last health authority that apparently has adopted that drinking water standard that's extra protection for the users of the water to basically get handle some bacteria and viruses or whatever that isn't covered by it.
It's good stuff. I'm not it's good thing.
Is there any assistance from provincial or federal levels of
Not
government?
at the moment.
They said they'll sign a letter of support.
For grants.
So then if you don't do anything, we as a village doesn't do anything, I don't think the province or the government's going to come in and shut your water off.
That was the implication, that it'll be a term and condition of our water permit, and eventually they would refuse to,
But
have to
what
have
would
an
they-
annual.
No, but what would they do if you just ignored it? And I mean,
I do like they did with Victoria's sewer system. I keep sending them reminders.
I know, but as long as the water's still running downhill, I mean, what are they gonna do? Send out a bunch of VHA cops to actually blow up the dam so we can't get the water out of it?
I agree with you. That's what I'm saying.
I'm just
They
curious.
would have saved us a heck of a lot of money. The VHA cops blew up the dam instead of us taking it out.
Yeah,
Dam.
That's right.
we could have used this for the new filtration system. Maybe that's like the next about dancing in the coal dust and dancing in the water.
The VHA cops won't be getting here anytime soon. They're on the same bus that the new hospital's on.
Good line.
I just think they're very good at figuring out how to have other people pay.
I think
For
when
lots of-
sometimes, maybe when the province and them mandate different scenarios. We had this water stuff come to us and it all gets mandated, and now we're getting this purification system, and you got X number of time to do it. What is it going to be 6 months from now? Is it going to be something else?
Well,
So
I think
maybe Cumberland is in a good position. Maybe we're everything is so dilapidated and we're moving so slowly. Maybe somebody will step up to the plate and say, we got to bring you guys up to snuff, and it might not have to be all of us, but
I take exception with
is,
that remark.
is it a danger though if we drag our feet, or do we run out and pay for everything as they keep mandating it? Who knows?
I don't think our water.
Because we're really not getting a whole lot of guidance from them.
We can disagree
It's not your fault.
immensely.
We can, that's okay.
But I think the spectrum amalgamation too, is if we can't pay for this, we can't.
That's what they're setting us up.
They're very curious about that. I mean, that was the first move to the Common Valley Regional District. I don't know that.
No, but I think it is, like when you do the regional growth strategy and you bring the water into it and you bring all of this stuff. So then they can say, oh, you guys planned it all really nicely, so now you are the city of the Comox, city of Comox Valley, even though we're not really a valley.
Well, I could say something right now, but if the government theoretically is going to force us into a regional water system, a regional sewer system, and whatever,
In a regional growth
they might
strategy.
just as well do the work they should have done, and I say this tongue in cheek, Never mind splitting the regional district. Make a district municipality and have one government, one this, one that, and get it over with, because that's what will happen down the road anyway. And I haven't said that before. So.
Well,
But anyway, that's another issue. But when you're dealing with government, you have to, we deal with them so much that you can't really fight with them. Your applications get pushed a little bit, and it's a tough situation, even though they sit in Victoria. I've been through this for a lot of years on the water system. When we lost a dam and how we went to Victoria, everybody would think that, oh, Cumberland lost a dam now, and if it wasn't for Alice Lake, we wouldn't have water. Surely the government will make a move. You'll never believe the trips we made to Victoria fighting with the chairman was Rod Sepp. We must have made 5 trips. You know what they gave us? $40,000. God, it was, anyway.
Well, that's not bad, just under 10 grand a trip. I mean, to me, part of it...
Hardly paid for the gas to go to Victoria.
But part of it is maybe council doesn't, and staff at the village office shouldn't be, quote, fighting because they have to negotiate with provincial and federal government parts.
See you, Colleen.
But I mean, sometimes I think the village could actually use the people when we speak up. You could use us more as, and it's been, with different petitions in the past that you haven't actually used that as well as you could have in negotiating things.
we do. That is a valuable tool.
And I just think it hasn't been.
We'll keep complaining.
And on that point, I would like it so that we don't have public hearings in July and August. That's something that, if you're really thinking about the regional growth strategy and stuff that's been talking about, and I was reading the annual report from before this council came in on how people actually work together in the village a little bit more, which hasn't been happening because the people haven't been listened to very much. It would be really nice to not have public hearings like what Trilogy is saying. At their last meeting was saying that they planned on having a public hearing by the end of July. And that's what they came out with at the last meeting that they had. I think Bronco was the only representative from council there. And it would be nice to have a summer off.
No,
We won't agree there.
I can't promise you that. I'll discuss it with council.
Well, all but one of you is here.
There's 2 schools of thought there, and I hear it. That's good. I don't have a problem with that. Other people tell us to get on with it. So we just got to...
But who are they? You know who the ones are that are saying to leave it alone for the summer. So who are the ones that tell you to get on with it? Who are they?
We've had this discussion too. Council's required to listen to everybody in every forum. Whether we're out at another meeting and somebody comes and approaches you, or on the street, or anywhere, and give the general feedback they get from people. And there's lots of people who I won't agree with, by the way, who just say that log it, burn it, pave it. So council, we're not the enemy. We're trying to find the balance to suit what we hear from the whole community. We don't always find that balance within ourselves, and that's fair enough. You don't want 5 of us to agree, or we only need to bring 1 of us to agree. So a good, healthy disagreement in the community is fine, but it doesn't have to be we versus they, or an enemy, or anything like that. We're all trying to do what we honestly and truly believe is the right thing for this village, to make it prosper, to make it healthy, to make it still maintain this lifestyle. Will it remain identical? No, I don't see how that could possibly happen. But I think we're still trying to maintain the lifestyle. We're going to maintain the downtown core and beautify it. Will there be change? Yes. I think I've said before, change is the only constant we have in life. OCPs change. We still like to think we maintain the general vision. We can disagree on some points of that, but we don't want to turn into urban sprawl. We don't want to turn into big malls in the 901 North. Nobody on council is suggesting that. So, with details, yes, we'll have some disagreements, but we do listen to this input. That's good.
Well, somebody wants an egg crate of 6-story towers right next to my neighborhood, and I don't give a damn about environmental footprint baloney. That isn't environmental one bit for my neighborhood. That sucks. and it's going to block out people's sunlight. It's going to have all the traffic right next to people's homes. It's going to block out my view of the mountains. And, you know, I came here when I was in my early 20s in I think it was 1980 in that hall when I won my lot. And I didn't come here to live with that. I could have got that anywhere. I don't expect to live on a little island where nobody builds around me, but I've seen the future living on the Lower Mainland. I've lived it. I've commuted it. I've done that lifestyle. And you know, that is going to pee off a heck of a lot of people. If people come here and they look at us and they think we're that easily bought that they can just look for maximum value every square foot of this village.
Okay, I think you've made your point very well.
Not mentioning any names and not, you know, mentioning any developers in general.
Can I just make one little closing comment? I'd just like to thank you for setting it up in a circle for the first time since we started having these. No, they've always been the public that has made it go into a circle, so it's nice actually seeing it.
Last council.
No, it ended up moving into it. No, it wasn't. It was the lady that asked why we were all sitting in rows. It wasn't staff. Okay, well then don't take it as a compliment. I'm sorry.
Thank you very much.
It really sucks that you guys think you do everything yourselves all the time.
It's a compliment. Just
No, they don't
take
want
it and run.
No, they didn't. They argued with it, that they've done it before.
I don't want to be
It's getting to you, huh?
a wet blanket, but I do want to be heard in this moment, and this is to my community. This, you know, in reading the planning that's been done, the report that was given just recently for the 2007 annual report, it occurred to me that the planning that was done was in December of 2007. This is a chart of the price of oil in the last, you know, back to 1987 up to May 2008. It's now gone off the charts. This is a very real issue, not only for our village, but for the whole of our Western civilization. How are we dealing with that in our planning? How are we dealing with that in our weekly consideration of all these developments? I think we have to be a lot more cognizant of impending doom. I mean, this is the collapse of Western civilization that's shaping up. And if you haven't got that message, you're listening to the wrong media channels, because it's coming on really strong and hard. And we've got to, as a village, 5% of the produce of this island is produced on the island. That's 95% of our produce is coming from elsewhere, and it's dependent on oil. And there are movements afoot. I mean, it's quite likely. The news I got this morning, we're so close to having Bush go into Iran. I mean, it's going to change everything, as well as the speculation that's going on. It's driving the price up higher. And there's no controlling that. There's nobody in charge of all of that. But we're going to have to live with the consequences of it. And I think, you know, all of this dream of development, that's fine. But we got to get down and get real. And we should be encouraging citizen participation in planning for this. And I think, you know, council's got to take some responsibility for that. You know, it's about prioritizing. I'm saying we got to consider survival, not just, you know, wouldn't it be nice to have a few gardens in town?
Okay.
A lot of the conversations that we've been having with neighbors lately in the last few months, it's like turning your yard into food production. And this morning I was talking to a neighbor about, wouldn't it be great to plant a community orchard in the Peace Park? Let's have fruit trees in the Peace Park that people can harvest themselves. And you know, there's just so many things that we could do as a community if we were aware that, you know, we're facing some really hard times coming up with this. So
we've had discussions way back when we had Arcadia, California, talking to us first about constructive treatment pipeline, how they do things. And one of the things was the public trees on streets, etc., are fruit trees.
yes.
And that's fine. we need to go cautiously there because we in fact can't get people to pick the fruit in their yard. We have bears.
Well, when people are hungry and they can't afford,
Yes,
they
I'm not
will be
disagreeing with
picking.
you.
So we need to plant them. They will be picking them, for sure.
And they'll shoot the bears so they can eat them and have the fur. Solve the whole problem.
Warm food and fruit.
And then you'll set me on fire when I'm wearing my fur coat because you don't believe in it.
I don't know, if people steal it, so they can have it put blanked on the bed when there's no heat.
Yeah.
And we have supported, you know, the group that picks the fruit around the valley, about the ladder.
But let's not,
I think those ideas are good. And we're
let's not
looking.
decide not to do it just because people won't pick the fruit, because we're changing. Things are changing quickly. And people will pick the fruit, and people will be thinking about growing spuds instead of dahlias, you know? Because, you know, if 95% of it comes on the ferry, I mean, we're relying on a system that, I mean, I heard somewhere that in 3 days, Vancouver Island would be without food if it stopped.
That's right.
So are we just going to rely on that? Like, I just think Cumberland is a great place for people to just pull together and start focusing on it. Don't forget it.
I couldn't shoot it, but I have a couple of deer that hang out in my yard, so I'll phone Dale and he could come and shoot and skin them.
In a
Well, if
heartbeat.
you're a carnivore, you may as well go for it. You should.
In a heartbeat.
I found out that
Lettuce and
there's
cabbage
7
look
of
nice
them
in
across
flower
the street.
bed.
What's that?
Lettuce and cabbages look nice growing in Winchester flower bed.
I planted vegetables with all
I'll
my
come down
plants.
there, Kate, as soon as Cumberland lifts the no shooting bylaw.
I didn't know there was no shooting by.
I know, that's how you were right.
Apparently,
That's right, a little disturbing.
Dale, apparently, like with the Dorothy who lives diagonally across, one of my friends had dropped by and she said, in her yard there's like 7 of them. I said, well, they keep coming over mine and like they're eating my plum tree and some of my stuff.
What's that, deer?
Yes.
Well, when
They're
I,
like the large